Good afternoon. I'm Kazuyo Sejima. I try to have a lecture in English, but I might have some problems, so she sometimes help me. Already he introduced me. 5.5 years ago, I had an exhibition and lecture here. So today, that period, I show many photos of models. So today I want to show the finished one. And I show 10 projects today, and 2 of them, or 3 of them, by my own firm, and other projects designed with Mr. Ryue Nishizawa. Actually, we run 3 offices in the same space, my own firm and his own firm, and one another is a collaborative office. So I want to start chronologically. This is the oldest project of today's. The housing project, and Mr. Arata Isozaki coordinated the whole 4 blocks, and he selected 4 women architects. And these are the social housing, and this block designed by Elizabeth Lear, and this is by Takahashi, and this by Christine Hore, and this block we did. In this project, what we try to do is mainly the 3 points. The first one is to make the thinner volume as much as possible, because of normally the housing block has a very huge volume. But if we see the inside, there is only so many small spaces. So I want to keep or think about the relation between the so many spaces and the result of the very huge block. So I want to control the whole volumes, and especially to show some scale in the thinness, and also make up holes, and to show some thinness, and also to show some human scale. And second point is about this hall. This hall works for the terrace, and in this block there is 108 family units, and there is 108 halls work for a terrace, so that each hall belongs to one family unit. And the right show the plan, and the center there are rooms, and behind there the public corridor, and the front there is private corridor. So the private corridor connect each small rooms. Next. The left one show the section diagram. Here the third one, I want to make so many different type of family units, but each one is not so big different. Only the relation between the rooms. I mean, for example, this unit show this is a structure. It is a structural model. So, but there is a dining kitchen, and next to dining kitchen there is a terrace, and the upper floor there is tatami space and 2 bedrooms. Or this one is the dining kitchen with 2 bedrooms, and the next floor there is a tatami space next to the terrace. That means that every space, the size of every space is same, and but how to arrange the rooms are different. Arrangement of the room is different, so that makes some different makes a different life and the lifestyle plan. different type of the family type. The left one is front facade and the right one is the back facade. So from the front, you can see the different type of the family each unit, but from the back, no one can understand each room belongs which family unit. So physically, the relation between private space and the public corridor is not different, but if you walk you stand this corridor, you cannot notice whose, for example, this unit belongs to whose family. So I believe there is some privacy. I believe there is some kind of privacy, and this is it is the terrace. So from the back, there is another building designed by Elizabeth Diller, the people who live Diller's apartment can see through the opposite sky. This show the private corridor connect each spaces and make one family unit. And if see more close up, this is the terrace and dining kitchen, and other space are covered by the small wooden panel. The most basically the terrace are next to the dining kitchen, and I made a concrete table or the bench to support some facilities. I hope I make the terrace because of I think it is better the daily life people can get some exterior experience. So exterior experience. This is actually the one photo. The left one, it is a dining kitchen, and next to dining kitchen there is a corridor. There's a different type. So one more character, another character is in normal housing project there is one entrance, but here there is so many entrances or exit because of every room along to the public corridor. So not only one entrance, but there is few entrances because of in Japan, normally the public social housing, the architects require to make some communication space, but instead of making special spaces, I want to make some possibility. So that means that every family can make the different connection to the public. I mean, in Japan, basically all days we use the main entrance for the guest, and more closer connection. For example, the friend of the child friend, or the neighborhood come to the not entrance hall, but the kitchen door or from the garden. So I want to make some such possibilities. And from regulation, in Japan, each family unit must be divided by the fire protect wall. So in this point, basically the outside exterior garden divided the two family unit, but the section was so confused. So sometimes suddenly the different type of unit meet directly. So such a case, I put the fire protect wall and covered by the stainless mirror. So that mirror works. Normally this housing block is a normal white blocks, but depend on the condition of the sky, the mirror panel reflects the exterior condition and slightly change the color. Next two project is I and Nishizawa focus on the buffer zone between interior space and exterior. Both projects have the corridors between two. This is the private house in the countryside, and there the 6 people live together, the grandparents and young parents and 2 children. And you can imagine this is a very normal Japanese residential area, but the circumstance is not good condition. So to get the natural wind and natural light is not so easy because of the privacy. So we made the corridors, the main structure made by the wood, and this is a kind of screen, and this space is we saw the buffer zone between interior space and exterior space. And there are 4 bedrooms arranged, connected each other on the back, but at the same time, if the people want to visit another's room, that there is some kind of distance. And the first floor, there is one dining kitchen space, and from the individual space, there is same distance from the individual space to the dining kitchen. The corridor have the double high ceiling. So open the door, and then there is a corridor, and now every space is covered by the wooden panel. So instead of making one thick wall, but we made 2 thinner wall, and so the clients live with fitting the condition, fitting the lifestyle to the exterior condition. And every wall, actually 2 walls, give the natural light, and bottom there is an opening small window to get the natural light, and at the top there is a ventilation. So for example, the winter daytime in the winter, the client opened all doors to get the natural light, but the night close all doors to keep the warmness. And we use 2 materials, and daytime it looks very similar, but at night the gradually difference appeared to the exterior. Another project is a small museum in the countryside. The center, there is an exhibition space, and the surroundings, there's a storage and office and toilet and machine room. Because of that, this museum will show the Japanese paintings, so the curator had the natural rights, so we required to make an exhibition space as a black space or concrete box. But the site is like this, and the small town has a plan to make this area as a big park. So we make some kind of corridor by the glass, and also from every direction people can. We think from all directions people might be approached. So we try to avoid making a facade. And one more thing what try to do is to use the special film for the glass and walls, because in the mountain area, depend on the weather, the scenery always changing. So for example, the rainy day, the mountain looks almost black, and the sky is white. But in the summer, suddenly the green color appears very strongly. So we try to make architecture have some relation to the condition of the exterior. So the special film works. Sometimes this museum appear as a transparent one, but sometimes very opaque, and the black wall sometimes appear the very strong black color, but under the sunshine it appear white wall. This is a corridor, and the corridor covered by the glass, and so we use this system and to propose the museum use corridor as a small gallery space for the neighborhood. So we made a movable panel. So the neighborhood, for example, the students can arrange this panel and make a small exhibition. And there's an entrance to the main exhibition space. And if you see precisely the glass wall, this film have two patterns. Basically, the base is translucent and very small pattern made by transparent, but some part is opposite. So the base is transparent, but the pattern is made by translucent. So the museum doesn't have completely transparent glasses. So you feel something like you feel the モニターを通して見てるような感じを受けるってテレビのスクリーンを見てるように外が見える。
You can see the outside as if you see through the TV screen.
And in the night, in the daytime, the small museum wall looks very continuously, but at night, appear independently. Next one is also the small museum in the on the mountain. The site is a historical one, so in the 400 years ago there is a Japanese small traditional castle, and now only the small part remains. And the city decided to make a small museum to show the articles. But so and what we propose here is the first one is to keep the shape of the site itself, because of the shape of the site is also the historical one. And another thing is not only show the old articles, but we try to show the surroundings also. This is the structure model, and to show the side line, we lifted up the architecture level, and there is the entrance hall, and there is some small rest space, and exhibition space, and storage. So from the top of the mountain, people go up to this site, and then first people saw this architecture should be the flat one, but if approached to the building, gradually the people noticed the facade have some small curve, and under the museum, people arrived the slope. Because of it's also we try to show make some experience. So under the building and go up to and between mountain and building, there is a approach slope. And arrive the entrance hall, and in front of the entrance hall there is a you can find the historical building. The Japanese traditional building sometimes has a very big roof and very characteristic one, but from the ground floor it's very difficult to see, so we decided the entrance hall as in front of the building. These are exhibition spaces. This one. Next one is a small pavilion in the cafe. The name is Park Cafe. This is a very big park, and the city required us to make half interior space and half exterior space as a resting space in the park. And we want to make some strange. Strange is this site is a park, so we want to think something like a space. We want to make a space something related to the nature. So you feel this building. has so many. You see so many columns. So, but basically, every column work for to support the weightness, and the roof convey the earthquake force to 4 panels. So basically it looks very ornamental building, but basically this building made by only the structural drawings. And in Japan, the half of the year we have a good season, so we use glass sliding wall, and half of the year the people open, and then 3 spaces become very similar, but summer and winter there appear interior space and exterior space. And 4 panels covered by stainless mirror and always reflect the surroundings to make some interior feeling. This panel show one example. So and to reflect the trees, and also we made a small table by mirror, so under the coffee the people can see sometimes sky or sometimes a small mountain. And only this photo show some new project. We are now designing almost same programs in the Holland. So now we try to make some scallop between we want to make some buildings, but look like sculpture in the garden. The next project is the daycare center. The site is the suburb of Tokyo, and this area is a residential area, and on the very steep slope. And every residential area has one daycare center like this, but this site is very and this site is also on the steep slope, so the very thin, and in front of this site there is a road, but 5 meters below, and behind this building there is 5 meter concrete. So normally this city has a very strict program, and already strict regulation how to make such a type of the facilities, but here the site is too special, so we can propose so many things. This shows the plan. And left hand there is the road, but there is a 5 meter difference, and there is also 5 meter concrete walls. And this direction is south. And in Japan, we get the natural light from the south, and we also think very important natural light in Japan. But here it's impossible, so we arrange the building almost center of the site, and also every day this is a daycare center for elderly people, so only they stay daytime, and every morning the bus come to here and enter here, and this space used by the elderly people, and right space used for the neighborhood who support the elderly people. And I mean, I said before, the very city has a very strong relation between each spaces, but here is impossible. So we proposed not make the corridors and to connect each spaces directly. And because of that, we thought it's not so important for elderly people to divide each function so strictly. So here the living space, and there is the toilet, and there is the changing room and bathroom, and all space divided a movable wall. So of course they can divide it 4 spaces, but at the same time they connect each function very softly. And the building is very thin, so we decided not to use the columns, normal columns, but you selected such a structural system, and this column move to another way and divide space very softly. So for example, this space used for the elderly people, but also there is volunteer or the people who support elderly people who must there are the 2 different speeds. I mean, the slow space and more fast speed. So the volunteer can through the not can through the いいですかね。言ってください。ゆっくりしてるところだけさっと早く通り過ぎるっていう。
Volunteer people can go through the corridor faster than the people within the daycare center, which is older people.
And each column space used for sometimes the air ducting space, sometimes bigger one used for the toilet booth. And to get the light, we covered both facades by the glass. But at the same time, there is this site next to the normal houses. So and there the height difference. So from the first floor of the neighborhood, people can see through the inside. So avoid such a condition, we printed the surface of the glass by very, very thin glass black line. And the glass get the character of the reflection, so from outside we cannot see through the inside. And at the same time, we printed the interior facade of the glass by a thin white line. So and the result is the glass became and look like a Japanese old sudare screen. So from the outside, if you stand here the daytime, you cannot see. If you put your face on the glass, you cannot see inside. But from inside, people can see the exterior and also get the light. Of course, at night, if the light take on, we can see the inside from outside. But this facility finished 4 o'clock. And next one is a small private house, is really near the center of Tokyo. And the site is in the commercial area, so this site has no regulation from, no mean the height line regulation, but this is a very small site. And I think the possibility of the smallness is to think about the small measure. Measurement, because of in the big project, the 2 centimeter or 3 centimeters sometimes doesn't have so big meaning, but very, very small scale, the 2 or 3 centimeter make different possibilities. So the site size is less than 60 square meter, and the client want to have a parking space. So the ground floor became very small. And also another facade, the second floor almost attached to the sight line, division sight line, borderline, boundary. But gradually set back, and in the basement there is a 1 meter that make the 1 meter small terrace. This is the structure photo. So basically the center there is a staircase, and around the staircase there is a space. And so behind, for example, the facade move little. So on the ground floor, back of the staircase, there is only corridor, but the first floor make it between such a space become bigger and make a kitchen space. And the last one, there is a counter for the bathroom counter. And in the basement, there is a small terrace. This house, the space is very small, so very difficult or almost impossible to take a photo of interior. So I showed some part of the interior. This is the last floor, the top floor, the bathroom, and also the small terrace. And the next 3 project is now we are designing. Actually, this is designed by my own firm, and this is a small branch of one of the biggest newspaper company. Just I took the models, and so the material is only 2 photos. But this is the office building, and ground floor is parking, and first floor is a workspace, and second floor is a meeting space. And in Japan, we have earthquake, and the newspapers company required 1 room big space because of normally the branch, the workspace is not necessarily so big. Only 10 people work, but some accident happen, or the election start will start, suddenly the more than 50 people join this space. So we make the size is 12 by 18, and column stand only the surroundings. And for the earthquake, we use the steel thinner panel. So the structure thinner panel work for the brace appear as a exterior wall, and we try, and so the wall thickness is 70, and also we try to make the same thickness of the windows, and all fixed window, and there is small window that made by the steel panel, and to give the wind. And this is the Kanazawa Contemporary Museum project. Just now we finished the construction drawing phase, so the next March the construction will start. The Kanazawa city is a very old historical town, like small Kyoto. And this site is really center of Kanazawa city. There is a city hall, and there is a state hall, and this direction there is a commercial area for young people, and there is one of the very most famous Japanese traditional garden. So we decided shape as a round because of we think so from all directions people approach this building, and we made 4 entrances. This drawing shows the plans, and normally in Japan, the public museum, the government required to make the very big exhibition space, and depend on the exhibition, normally we must use the movable walls. But here, this is upside down. But here, the curator hate that system, and instead of making 1 or 2 big rooms, but she required us to make so many small exhibition spaces. And she decided all proportions, all spaces of proportion. She got proportional space. And functionally, this building have 2 functions. The one is contemporary museum. The other is the public programs. So there is the contemporary museum people must pay to enter, but the public functions is a free space. So we must think about how to divide 2 zones. So basically the center occupied by the exhibition spaces, and surrounding there is a public free zone. There is the library and space for children, and multi-purpose space, and small meeting space like that. And what we try to do is many small exhibition space stand independently, and the corridor connect these spaces. So that means that depend on the show exhibition, the curator can make the different space of the museum. And so for the big exhibition, the curator make the one big space, but at the same time, she can arrange the 12 or, for example, different shows. And so depend on the exhibition, the corridor suddenly become from museum suddenly open to the public. So I mean, normally the center is museum, but if make the two shows, such a case, the center corridor open to the public, and there is so many entrances to to connect or to divide the two zones, and of course this is a very big round shape, so the center should be dark, so that we made a full courtyard and to provide a natural light, and always the people move from one exhibition space to the another. People can see through the outside, and sometimes the corridor appear very very long, but sometimes the outside appear very closely. And and this is not final models, but basically we keep the same concept. So there is so many exhibition space, and some corridor people can see through from this direction to this direction. And between exhibition space, basically there's one courtyard which also used for the exhibition space, and every courtyard sit between the public free zone and the museum zone. So that means from public zone people can see through the inside, and also from museum zone also the people can see public space, people moving, or the exterior space. And I try to make the public space as low as possible, so that basically the ceiling height is 4 meters. But of course the exhibition space need more high ceiling, so from the very low volume, only the exhibition space stacking up and to make exterior volume. This is the last project which I try to show today. This is the Stad Theater project in Holland. This project and also Kanazawa project, both we won the competition almost 2.5 years ago, and both projects move very slowly. And this project now we almost at the end of design phase. And this city, the Almera city, is a new city and master planned by Lem Kohlhaas. And the site is on the man-made lake. Left drawing show the programs which we have got in the competition period. And the right one show the plan. And what we try to do is basically 3 points. First one is to arrange every spaces equally, because in the program there are two functions: theater function and culture studio sections. And of course the theater is a very big space, and there is a big theater and a middle theater and one more small theater. But at the same time there is so many small studios for the cultural center, so that we thought normally of course the big theater is very important, but people who come to the piano studio, the small piano studio is also very important. So we arranged every space equally, and we believe that even if the small space must have each own character or the own comfortability. And the second thing is we try to avoid the hierarchy with a hierarchy between the structure and the finishings. So the left perspective what we made in the competition period, so that every space have a own character and connected will be connected each other and make whole building. So that means that this building is a very big building, but we select a small structure system. So normally I think if there is a big space like a theater, the structure system should be very big system, and the small studio will be made by the division wall. But here we selected a small structure system so that each part of the each space work for the whole, a part of the whole structure. So the structure panel and made by the now the 7 centimeter, and another opaque wall and glass wall also the same thickness. So the every wall of the thickness of the every wall is the same, and if you stand here, you can feel this is the interior space and the exterior space. But you move the next space, you find this is also the interior space, and then you move, and then there's still the interior space. That means the whole architecture will be made by the very small spaces. And the right drawing show the many routes. That means every spaces, all spaces are basically the normal rectangular one, but to prepare the selection of circulation, and people can get make the different experience in this building. So this is the entrance hall, and there is 2 halls. Instead of making corridor, we make the hall different so many halls which are different proportion, and then there is a small halls. So depend on how to select the circulation, the people can get a different experience. And this is the first model we made, that we use so many different type of the different proportion of the transparency. That means I hope it's not mean the physically, but depend on the people. If people move the inside, many layer of the different activities, people can feel the different layer of the activities and make the different image of the building. That's all. Thank you very much.
Maybe there's time for 1 or 2 questions for Sejima-san before everyone goes to lunch. I see a few hands appearing. Why don't you go here, Florian? Go ahead. Can we have a mic maybe on?
Just pick up. For the housing in Gifu, all the rooms are separated from the exterior by the corridor. Rooms, you can only experience the outside once you open the doors. You have to basically share your room with the other inhabitants of the land. I was wondering how far the privacy was.
There is public corridor and private corridor. The center there is a space, the rooms, and private corridor. The private corridor, of course, divided by each family unit, and private corridor connects the rooms.
No, what I no. I mean, the basic problem is that you basically have to share. You have to open. You cannot look outside without sharing it with the others of inhabitants of the apartment.
No, but she's explaining that there is the central part of the apartment. It has a kind of conservatory corridor in front, which is private and belongs to that apartment. And then there's the private corridor, which is the access corridor. So when you have this private corridor, it's your corridor, but it's also the place when you invite people and whatever, you can be in that semi-public space of your own apartment. So there are two corridors, one private and one public. Sorry. Is that clear? Can we get the mic over?
Thank you for an excellent talk, Sejima. I wanted to ask about the landscaping of your projects. In the case of the Nakahechi Art Salon and the S Museum, the landscaping of the buildings is extremely important location and space. And I wondered, does your practice, do you do the landscaping for the buildings, and could you say a few words about it, please?
Yes, we did.
There's a famous lecture that Isosaki-san gave apparently 20 years ago, and he just described the project. This project is this project is that, and he just described them very straightforward. And the last sentence was, and our work is also very much influenced by Japanese symbolism. Thank you very much. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is that in a lot of the recent projects, you are obviously not doing a kind of modernist plan in the sense of a series of buildings separate, coming together. You keep referring to the fact that you don't use the corridor. So there's a sort of compactness, which in some ways is maybe reminiscent of projects by Corp, like the Venice Hospital, things like this, where there's a relationship of sort of larger scale spaces. So, is that something that why you do this? Why are you trying to organize spaces in a way that's somehow more like maze-like? Can you say something about the arrangement of spaces?
Basically, I and Nishizawa are very interested in how to arrange the spaces. So even if the very small project, for example, the Prada cosmetic project, we propose making to, instead of the designing interior design, but to propose making the shelf and how to arrange the product. So, and actually, I think in this large project, we required so many spaces. So how to arrange the space is very important. But first, the Almera, we try to avoid the corridor. But Kanazawa, we focus on making corridor and to find some possibility to the corridor. So the very normal museum, I think we cannot find the corridor. The exhibition space connected each other, and in the museum space, sometimes we couldn't understand where we are studying now. But we want to make the corridor to bring some another possibility. Yes, yeah. Something that we answer.
Well, most people have a hard time dealing with one office, and you have this relationship with three offices. What is the difference between, for you, the work between the three offices? Nishizawa-san's office by himself, the one that you collaborate, and then you on your own. Is there something very different?
So I work for not for 3, for 2.
I know, but you still have to psychologically deal with what he's doing as well. Because
But we are very busy, so that basically, if we decide the project, which is designed independently, I don't know so much. Yeah. So, but I'm not sure